Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the FB4 Daily. I'm Gav. I'm always here, apart from the last hour when the other lads were here. But yeah, this is the FB4 Daily. What are we going to do tonight? We're going to do exactly what we done last night. We're going to talk about all the names floating around in the transfer world, and it's getting absolutely ridiculous at this stage. This show is brought to you by Paddy Power. Everyone knows who Paddy Power is. If you don't, Paddy Power is a bookmaker. You can go onto your app store, any of your app stores, depending on what device you're on. You can download the app. You can get odds from Paddy Power on all your sports and everything beyond that as well. If you do gamble responsibly. If you don't, disregard everything I've said. It's the same thing I do every night. Absolutely disregard it. It's not for you. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, we're going to go through all the names, all the permutations of different players, and apparently Coutinho's on a plane and all sorts of stuff like that. So you're probably wondering, where the fuck is Gav tonight? I'm in a different location tonight. It's not the best. I done my best with it. I'm off to Liverpool tomorrow, so it was hastily put together. Let me just say that. So my apologies for looking like I'm locked up somewhere and doing this in secret. But look, we're going to take your quotes and from whatever quote you can find from people and leads and your opinions and throw them out there, and we'll get random, and we're going to give away a free bet tonight as well, and then we'll go from there and we'll see how we get on. So what have we got here? Someday in work, transfers all over the shop, says Hitting Frank, who is in from Paddy Power. Going to be wild tomorrow. I think it is going to be wild. I absolutely agree with you. Avi will be along in a minute, says Barry Carr. I was speaking to him earlier. He said his timeline was 5 p.m. It passed, and he actually genuinely got on to me and went, look, that timeline was what I was given. It hasn't happened, and if anything, he still believes it will happen, but he will take no credit for it if it does. That's just the way he said it. Fair play to him. Paul Taby's in the house. Evening, Gav. How are you, Paul? How are you? Let me see. United are after Inaki Williams. Inaki Williams off Athletic Bilbao. Am I right? Yeah, we were linked with him a couple of years ago. Gav, Avi backtracking? No, he's not backtracking. I don't think he is backtracking. He still believes it'll happen, but he did give a timeout, and that time passed, and he's willing to take no credit if it does happen, and all the abuse if it doesn't. That's the way he is. Chris says, what do you think about Sporting following LFC on social media? Yeah, who sent that to me earlier? It was Grizz. Grizz sent that to me earlier and said, oh, this is interesting because they also I think followed Villarreal earlier in the summer, and they were a club that he sold the player to as well. So yeah, it gets more interesting as it goes along. What was I going to say? What else have we got? Whatever you have, listen, if you have any random questions, we will get to that about 30 minutes in. We do it for about 25 minutes in. We'll get to it, do it for about 10 minutes. I'll pick the best one. I have the best one from last night. It was from a guy called Dixon87. It was a really good question. I can't even remember what the question was now, but it was a really good question, and it was the worst feeling watching Liverpool. He is in the lead at the moment, so if anyone can come up with a better random question when I give you the show, go for it. We pick a winner. You get a €20 free bet. We'll contact you. You give us the bet. That's how it works, and me and Ian from Paddy Power will sort that out. Seeing the Llorente links to United. Banter era part 2 begins down the road. Yeah, very, very strange, and I think they're trying to get rid of Lukaku. Lukaku is training with Anderlecht. I think he's booked a Ryanair flight to Milan, but he's also booked one to Manchester. So if he goes to Milan, he might be able to get you a flight from Anderlecht to Manchester, and all you do is change the name. They really walk around Ryanair and do things like that. So yeah, it could absolutely go off with regards to that. I do think if United do sell Lukaku, they are going to have to go in, and they're going to have to go in and sign a striker. I genuinely do. He's different to what they have, and he's probably the most effective striker last season still, or not far off it. Do we reckon Mane plays on Friday? I hope he does. I really hope he does. He's back. I know he's in training. It would be 4 days, but he's been on a program, as Klopp says. So look, you go with that, and I suppose I'd like to see him play. I'd like to see him get an hour, or if he doesn't play on the bench, half an hour coming off the bench, I'm not really bothered. I think we've enough. Keegan there says Mane too soon. Maybe so. If he gets a few minutes in this, I'd keep him out of the game against Chelsea during the week, and then I'd put him in against Southampton. Neymar to Real and Bale to be part of the deal. Yeah, listen, this is a crazy one, isn't it? It's one of those where Bale was always going to move, wasn't he? You know, it's one of those where I suppose he has to go. He's on a lot of money, and PSG are the sort that would go for him. I thought Bale would go to United. I thought United might pipe up with, you know, I suppose they might pipe up with half his wages even, and go from there, you know. But no, it seems to be that Real Madrid are now in, and it's interesting, isn't it, the way he's being linked all the time to Barcelona, and now Real Madrid have come in and decided that they want a piece of this. Neymar would be a massive deal for Real. They look like they're a club that are in rebuild. You know, it's one of those where he it's one of those where he could be the fulcrum for them, I suppose. Could he be the fulcrum for them? Yeah, he could be. It's massive money, but listen, Real Madrid would love nothing more than to, I suppose, you know, get one over on Barcelona while taking already the most expensive player in the world and probably doing it again. Spurs are getting Lo Celso. Yeah, you see, there was a lot around Spurs with Lo Celso originally. Then it was, well, Coutinho come up, Fernandez come up. There was talk of Eriksen going away. There's been a lot around that Spurs kind of midfield and attacking midfield. It always felt to me that they were trying to, get Betis to do some business. So for me, Lo Celso one makes a deal. But what do people think of this rumor that you know Coutinho, according to Graham Hunter now, Coutinho is on his way to England on a plane. Does anybody has anybody read that? I've just heard that second hand. I was watching and listening to the Cop Table, the show that was on before us. If you get a chance, go and listen to it. It's really good. The Norwich fan's really good. Jay Riley is really good as always. Peter is really good at hosting. They're going to try to do that live as well every week because it really, really went well. But they were saying that yeah, it looks like Coutinho, according to Graham Hunter, who was extremely reliable when it comes to Spanish players or Spanish clubs, it's an interesting one if he's on his way over. Arsenal, of course, are in the mix as well. So we'll have to wait and see. Is Shaq going out on loan? No, I don't think so. I think that's along the lines of what happened with Fabinho yesterday, and I suppose Real Madrid bid. No, I wouldn't be worrying about that. Ruben Neves is the Wolverhampton Wanderers centre midfielder. Quality, absolute quality. I don't think he's what he's looking at. I don't think it's what we'd be looking at the moment. A year down the road, though, I think we could be looking at someone like a Ruben Neves. Every story has a great ending, says Avi Hanser. Avi, you're very, very welcome. You probably weren't watching earlier, but I have told lads that you messaged me earlier. Your time stamp for this kind of transfer went and passed without anything happening, and you did say to me, "Look, I still believe it happens. I will not take any credit for it from now on because my timeline passed, but you will take all the flack, I suppose, if it does not happen." Let me see. Not on Twitter, says Spine Copy. Is that Graham Hunter? Deadline day deal, Avi. Come on, says Barry Carr. It can absolutely happen. I always say, lads, no smoke without fire. No smoke without fire. Sorry, I never mentioned it. If you are watching this on Twitter, hit the share button onto your timeline. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. You get this stuff every night. If you know any Liverpool fans that watch or would like to watch it on YouTube or Twitter or Periscope, let them know. Get them all in here, and the more people we have, the better. Liam says Coutinho, Bruno, Dybala, Havertz and Lo Celso all to Liverpool tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, they'll need that big black van, won't they? The big black Merc van that people chase around Liverpool. There's a fella in Liverpool driving one of them vans, and I'm sure he's thinking, what have I done in life that he must think the police are onto him or something. There's just people following around and staring at him, and he's probably parked up having a smoke, and people are going just staring at him, and he's wondering what's going on. So if there is a man out there driving a black Mercedes Vito, I really feel sorry for you. The people of Liverpool fans in the area just continue to follow you most of the way through January and midway through July, right through to the middle of August. Lob Lukaku in there too. Yeah, I'd love to see what that Lukaku deal is going to be, because Italian clubs are not known for throwing a hell of a lot of money up front, but United might just want him gone. It was quite obvious Solskjaer wasn't his biggest fan, let's be honest about it. Sessegnon going to Spurs, I always thought that makes sense. I know, were we talking a week or two ago about him, his father being a Liverpool fan and him probably being a Liverpool fan, I'm not too sure, but wanted to stay in London, and that's fair enough. He's an 18-year-old kid. If Chelsea wasn't banned, Coutinho would be there, heading there. Yeah, someone was asking earlier, can he go on loan? Can he go on loan to Chelsea? They cannot bring in any players from what I've heard. They got away with Kovacic because he was on loan to them already, and they could make that deal permanent. I think that's the way it was, or there was a deal in place already, the boys, so that deal was done. But I don't think they can do anything. Keegan says plane tracker day tomorrow. Yeah, what is it? It's not Flight Scanner, is it? There's another one that everyone uses, and the Navigator one was amazing. Private jets out of Germany and stuff like that was amazing. Nabil Fekir one was amazing. I love when they track planes. It's absolutely brilliant. How many planes will we follow tomorrow? I don't think you're allowed to follow planes physically, but tracking them online, I think you're allowed to. The last time I checked. So yeah, there will be a lot of that going on tomorrow. Who would it be? Who would a more competitive league suit, us or City? Us. I think teams try more against us. I think they give a little bit more than us. I think they still feel there's a chance at times to get at Liverpool, where I think teams just lie down in front of City. If everyone come out and had a real go against City like Leicester did last year, Newcastle played them really well. I think they wouldn't get as many points. I think Liverpool played teams last season that didn't roll over whatsoever. Not as many as City. So no, I think a competitive league would absolutely suit us more. Somebody says there, looks like Leroy Sané has done his ACL. Is that true? Jesus, because he played, what was it, 15 minutes on the Charity Shield, and I suppose when he was, did he come off because of an injury, or did he just get a few minutes and that'll be it? Was it a tackle on Trent? It's very, very interesting, because all the talk was he was going to Bayern, and I took my eye off the telly, and then he was gone off, and I thought, oh, that's just a token gesture. Make him come, make him play for 15 minutes, and then take him off. So yeah, let me see. Wolves are always competitive against the top sides. Yeah, they were the ones that stood out. I thought they played really well against. I think they took a point off City at home. They were beaten away, but they played very well. I think, if I remember right, they may have had a man sent off. That's in my memory. Wolves player being sent off at the Etihad. But most of the teams, Jesus, it was awful. Sporting being tough in negotiations, says Toxic Calamari. Hopwood is saying now a deal being forced by his agent. Now that's funny, because there's 3 or 4 people have said this, that Sporting Lisbon are being a very, very tough nut to crack. So we'll have to wait and see. They're probably waiting right to the death to try to get as much as they can, and they're well within their rights. He's their player. Fluid on his knee still for Sané, I heard, was found in the Bayern medical. Says okay, so he is having a medical at Bayern. We'll have to wait and see. I love Leroy Sané as a player, really do. I know City probably wouldn't sell him to us, but I think he's absolutely fantastic. Barry Carr says West Ham will be competitive. It all depends how it goes for West Ham. People thought that last year when they signed Anderson and a couple of different players were woeful for the first 6 weeks of the season. They got back, dropped again, came back again. We'll have to wait and see. The first 6 to 8 games are crucial for West Ham to see where they stand in the league, and with their fans, especially at home. Abbey with the constant false hopes. Gonna be this time, guys. This is love child. No, listen, Abbey's been absolutely adamant, and I applaud him for that, and I won't. I'll never change. I'd never change on that opinion. How do you rate Arsenal signing Luis for 8? Is it 8 million? Luis is a very strange one. He was at Chelsea. He went off to PSG. Chelsea brought him back. He fell out with Conte, wasn't it? Was it Conte he fell out with? And now he's looking to go to Chelsea. Or not Chelsea, he's looking to go to Arsenal. Is it 8 million? As little as 8 million? There mustn't be much left on his contract, or there's something in his contract that says he can leave, because that's a bit low. I think 8 million. I think wasn't it 34 million he went to PSG and Chelsea bought him back for, or 50 he went to PSG and Chelsea bought him back for 35. Lewis is an upgrade on any defender Arsenal have. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you on that. There's absolutely and utterly no doubt whatsoever. Leicester will challenge the top 6. Wolves will struggle because of Europe. Yeah, you have to take that into thing, but I think have Wolves kind of made their squad that little bit bigger. Leicester, look, I'm the team I'm most interested in this season is you know just the players you've signed, the manager they have now, I suppose. But something the ones that really interest me. Do we have them early on in the season? I think we might have them Boxing Day away. I think we might. I'll have to look that up. Luis has a great passing range and solid striking him. Chelsea are in a mess. Well, you see, players will want out because what will happen with Chelsea is they have the ban. I think the ban is just this window in January. They'll be back next season. But the problem they'll have is they'll struggle this season and they'll end up in Europa League more than likely. And if they do, they will be in issue. There will be issues. They're in the Champions League this season. But something. I think they might struggle this season, and if they do, they could end up in Europa League, and then you have all sorts of problems. You look at United being out there 2 years, with all the money they have, and they're still struggling. If you trust LFC insiders, he is saying medical and everything is done for Fernandes. I don't know who LFC insider is. I really don't. So we'll have to wait and see. Something. It's getting very late now. You would probably, if the deal was to be done, you would probably be looking at something like, you would probably have to have that sort of stuff done going into tomorrow morning. It's not an 11 o'clock shut off tomorrow night, it's a 5 o'clock. Someone asked in there what happened to the 5 o'clock deadline. If you go back on this show and watch it back, I have explained what's gone on with Avi Hansford and what he said. He's been extremely honest in my opinion to me. Listen, if Avi Hansford turns out to be a United fan sitting in Manchester having a great crack, I don't really care. It was fun. We had fun with it, lads. It's the summer. There was no Liverpool weren't on. It was fun. That's what it's about. We're going to have fun as the season goes on. Win, lose or draw, we will have fun. That's what we're here for. Fun, opinion, have a laugh. That's all it's for. We don't need to worry. Let me see. Haller looks a good signing. This is the guy up front for West Ham. I've seen a clip of him setting up Jack Wilshere for a goal, I think it was. Is it Jack Wilshere plays for them? And he looks very like John Carew. But I've seen 8 seconds of him, so listen, don't take my opinion on that guy too seriously. He is saying that Liverpool won't be briefing the press on it, and will announce it themselves. Oh, this is LFC Insider again. Listen, excuse me. All I can say is, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and I will continue and always to say it. If somebody has an opinion on that and they feel they know something, absolutely go with it. Absolutely go with it, and stick to your guns. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's the way I look at it. Kev says, I think if we're being honest, we're done. Let's see. It would have to be in the works by now. No disrespect to Abby. You don't know. I remember Dimitar Berbatov being thrown in a helicopter about 2 hours or 3 hours before the transfer window ended and ended up at United. So it's one of those where let's wait and see. What have we got? It's 20 past 10 at night now. What have we got? 18 hours, 18 and a bit hours. The Cop Table have joined us, evening all. Congratulations to the Cop Table. I have to say, they've done their first live podcast tonight. I helped them with it. They really got stuck in. They done their best with the comments. It's very hard to read the comments while they're hosting and stuff like that. I just have it right in front of me. So, but Peter was excellent. It was an excellent podcast. It's on Periscope. It's on YouTube. Go and watch it. The download will be out for you later on tonight, if not tomorrow morning. I'm going to Liverpool. I need some sleep before I go, but I will do my absolute best to get this podcast and the Cop Table out for audio download as well. Let me see. Is it Alan says we would love us to move for Eriksen? Well, Eriksen wants Champions League football. I think he's made that perfectly clear. I'll ask you, Alan, if it was Coutinho, Fernandes or Eriksen, who would you take? Because that's a question I've asked myself over the days, and something, I still edge towards Philippe Coutinho, just because I've seen what he can do on a Liverpool shirt. So, yeah, there's a question for you. There's 3 players. Which one would you take? Because I have a feeling that them 3 will move by tomorrow. And Eriksen, I think, goes abroad. I think Fernandes comes to England, and I think Coutinho comes to England as well. Why don't Liverpool just do the 2 of them and let Eriksen go out for Real Madrid? That'll get my vote. Everyone in? Yeah, good. Right. would love us. No, sorry, I'm not reading that already. The only way anything happens, the only way anything happens is if the groundwork and contracts are done. Yes, Kev. Someone said there that apparently medicals have been done and stuff like that. So, let me see. You know, it's we'll have to just wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. What was I going to say there? Can anyone phone my boss and tell him I'm not well and can't go to work tomorrow? I need to be watching transfer deadline day. Do you still do that? I don't. I used to watch a good bit of it. I don't do it now. I just keep an eye on Twitter, and we have a WhatsApp group, and the lads are in there. I think there's 20 of us in it, so they throw all sorts of stuff in there. So I keep up with it. Then I can't watch Jim White with a yellow tie pretending he's on the phone to you know, the owners of football clubs and all. It's absolutely ridiculous. Mikey G would go with Fernandez. He's Fernandez all the way. Toxic Calamari would go for Bruno, younger than both of them. Alan said he'd probably edge towards Coutinho as well. Thanks for that. ESPN saying Coutinho will not sign for a Premier League team. Aha, he must be on a plane and he's off the black pill because he heard it's deadly. Hit him Frank, odds currently on Bruno to LFC. Ian, if you're on there, let me know the odds. Let me see. Twitter feeds, deadline day is crap. Yeah. I go with you. There's certain coverage of it is. Let me see. Give Virgil the captaincy. Take pressure off Klopp picking Hendo. I don't think that'll happen. I think Henderson is a brilliant club captain. And I think he loves Hendo, and Virgil doesn't need it. That would be my opinion on it. I don't think it will happen. 7-1 Fernandez is with Paddy Powers to go to Liverpool. I think that might make him second favourite. I think he was about 10-1 or 9-1 last night. Darren says Coutinho would be the perfect choice. He's more versatile too. I think he's more versatile. Yeah, I think there's an argument for all of them. I genuinely believe there's an argument for all of them. Someone says Boopy next summer confirmed. Is that Mbappe's cousin? that made me laugh. Sorry. I hope Naby starts on Friday. It'd be great to have 4 attacking players on the pitch. You know what? I'm not too bothered over midfield. Once the front three and the fullbacks play as well as they are meant to play, I think we'll be fine. Shock signings tomorrow. I don't think there'll be any shocks. I think the names that are out there will be the ones to move unless something mad happens and you do get a shock like you've just said. So disregard what I said. I'm an idiot. If you're going to evolve as a team, does Klopp need to move on from Hendo and Milner? No, I think they're pivotal to what we do. You have a midfield three there, and the midfield three most of the time is there to be functional. I think especially against the bigger sides, be functional, and as I said, the front three and the fullbacks do your work for you. Attacking wise, you know, it's. I think Milner is probably his last season, but we'll have to wait and see. But again, smaller sides, the likes of your Oxlade-Chamberlain, your Keita, they're that bit of spark, and they can kind of overrun smaller teams and you know and get us points when we absolutely need them. No way Mane plays on Friday. He was just back on Monday. I don't know. I really don't know. Balotelli is looking for a club. Give everything a ring. They're bidding for everyone. All midfield concerns can be covered very possibly by Keita. Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge season for him. I've said it before. I think it's going to be an absolutely huge season for Naby Keita. He's one of those where I just feel he looks just something slightly different. There's a slightly different look off him for me. But look, I could be talking absolute rubbish, like most of the time. But we'll have to wait and see. There will be another exit tomorrow. Kent. Phillips went to Stuttgart today. Yeah, Phillips signed the deal with Liverpool and went to Stuttgart on loan. Kent, it looks like they're looking for about 7 or 8 million. Leeds were meant to be interested, but we'll have to see. I can see Liverpool doing a deal for Ryan Kent. I really can. The amount to come out of retirement to sign a part-time deal with Liverpool, dream come true for all involved. He was linked every 3 weeks to us for about 5 years. Coutinho to Leicester to join Brendan. Could you imagine? That'd be unreal. That'd be sensational. That would be. VAR is our new signing. Yeah. VAR is going to be messy next season. There's going to be uproar over it, even though we all know it's coming in and stuff like that. Listen, hit me with your random questions. Any random questions you have, go and hit them. We are 25 minutes in. We do another 10 minutes and we will go from there. Let me see. I'll throw Mane to start in the specials, says Ian. 5-4 to start, 4-7 on. not to start. There's an offer for you. Listen, if you're going on to Paddy Power, and look, as I said, if you don't gamble, disregard this, but if you're going on to Paddy Power and you go to football, you click on specials, you scroll down, all these bets that you come up with, and you say to me, I try get them and give them to Ian, and Ian prices them up and puts them on this LFC Day Tripper specials board. So anything you come across and you go, oh, I like them, I'm thinking about the game and I like that, absolutely, just go and tell us what it is. I just tell us what it is. We'll price it up. We'll put it on the specials board there, and then you can go and do a bet on it if you want. But and the specials that come out of your head go on to that page dedicated to the LFC Day Trippers, and there it is. Just click away and do what you like. Gav, do you think the subs new rule will be implemented rigorously? Is this the one where you have to leave the pitch at the nearest point? Yes, I do think it will. The referees are always under strict instruction, and they will absolutely clamp down on it. Absolutely clamp down on it, like they done with pulling in the box and stuff like that from corners, and people got really upset, and then it leveled itself out. Which is the best stadium other than Anfield you have been to? That's a good question. Do you know what I did like? I like Pride Park and Derby. Really like that. Great setup on a match day, just for the experience, and it really like that. The question I really liked there was, you could eat one chocolate bar for the rest of your life. What would it be? It would be Cadbury's Whole Nut. Absolutely, Cadbury's Whole Nut. That would be my choice of chocolate bar. I'll have to go back and see who asked that. But the Athletic, Gav, not great so far for me. This is the new guys that set up James Pearson. I haven't subscribed to it. I have heard really good things about it. But again, I'm going to ask: does anybody know if it's only written content? I'd really like to know. I'd really like to know if it's just written content, already throwing the odd podcast in there and stuff. Because I think I love football. I love every sort of podcast. Millennium Stadium, Cardiff, never in it, but I heard it's absolutely unbelievable, and that's from Liverpool fans, football fans, rugby fans. Said it's absolutely brilliant. Kev is in Bristol at the moment, and Ashton Gay has impressed him as a ground. That's had a lot of work done over the last 4 or 5 years, Kev, I think. But yeah, keep the stadiums coming in. Top 3 looks a given. How many points would the third place be ahead of the fourth? I'd say 15 plus. I think the top 2 will be us and City. In whatever order you feel that will happen. I don't think it'd be 20 odd points to third place again. I think it'd be a little bit tighter, but I think a little bit of a tighter league, as I said earlier, makes it it's a better outcome for Liverpool, I think. What's Grid saying about the final day? He's just saying let's wait and see, being honest. He's just saying wait and see. That's I'm not gonna tell you lies and say he's been saying this, that, and that. The San Siro is getting a mention there. St James's Park is getting a mention there. My brother is a Newcastle fan. He went to St James's Park, absolutely loved it. What else have we got there? So far, it's written. Podcasts are great for the car. I love podcasts. Podcasts. Why can't I say that word? I love podcasts. Football ones, Liverpool ones, crime ones. I'm insanely into. So we'll have to wait and see. Was in Bourne last season. Great stadium, says Glenn. Yeah, it's a good one. What I'm going to do is, I like the stadium. One. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to split the bet this week. I'm going to give €10 of a free bet to the person that asked about the stadium. I'll have to look it back and see what it was. And I'm going to give €10 to, I think it was Dixon87, that asked yesterday about the worst time watching Liverpool. We've split the bet this week. I'll contact you both. We'll get your bet, we'll place it, and we'll even give you a copy of it just so you know what is going on. You think any players come in tomorrow? I'm not too sure, but I hope there is. That's all I can really say. I'm not too sure, but I really hope there is. That is about, what's that? That's 30 minutes. We leave it at that. I'm off to Liverpool tomorrow. Myself and Peter Phillips will be doing a show live from Liverpool tomorrow between 12 and 12:30 in the day. On Thursday, we haven't fixed the time, but we will be Friday, we will be in Liverpool again. We will let you know what the story is there. And on Saturday, I will be doing one more than likely on my own from Liverpool before I head back to Dublin. It's been a pleasure as always. It's been a great show. Your comments keep me going, absolutely keep me going. Some great shouts on the stadiums, some great shouts on players. Information, you absolutely fed this tonight. You've been excellent. I've been okay, a bit like last night. That's been the Fatback 4 Daily for Wednesday, the 7th of August. Have a good one. See you tomorrow. Over and out.